Look, I don't know if it's possible to get cancelled while you don't have a fan base, but my opinion might get me cancelled. So like, if you're just here for the answer to the question, you can skip. There's chapters. Go skip it. But Jesus Christ.
Tell me you're pregnant and I'm amazed. So many blessings while we stressing, looking for the better days.
If you're wondering why I got the hood on indoors, it's because A, I'm nervous to record this. I ain't gonna lie. My genuine reaction when I'm nervous is just to kind of, but I'm also trying to keep the video slightly lighthearted. I'm not. I know what the subject comes with, man. I'm just nervous to record this. It's like, it's hard to have a middle ground when it comes to things like this. It feels like you're either in or you're out. You're either for abortion or against it. There's no real middle ground based on what people value. Like, if I want to make a lighthearted video, have some jokes, have some smiles, I want to do that type of stuff. But it feels like when it comes to a subject like this, you can't because, the subject matter, things that cause abortions and all this. And it's just a lot of dark energy, man. I don't want to be sitting here just bored like this, talking like this, no reaction, and like the video will be so boring that way. But it feels like I have to do that because if I don't do that, I don't want it to come across like I'm not taking this topic very seriously, because I am. And it's taken me ages to even get the courage to make a video like this because I'm afraid of the reaction. I ain't gonna lie. I don't want my voice to be misconstrued.
Just do what you feel and I'ma follow. Just do what you feel and I'ma follow.
Now, I'm gonna be real, I always get pro-choice and pro-life mixed up. If you're wondering how, it's because I'm shit at English. But I researched this topic months ago when I was doing the whole LGBT thing during Pride Month. I thought it was funny at the time that I made videos about it during Pride Month exclusively. But one thing I realized while researching is that there's a lot of goalpost shifting from both sides, really. And I also see some batshit crazy shit. Like, there was a woman who ended up having an abortion because of astrology.
My wife and I have been married for about 3 years, and we were thinking of starting a family. Fertility issues run on both sides of the family, so we're pretty surprised to find out because we weren't exactly trying. It was one of those if it happens, it happens type of situations. The baby would have been due in December. Her parents had gotten into an accident in May, needed help getting around, so she moved in with them for a few weeks. During that time, she barely called or texted me. That isn't completely out of the norm, but I felt like she would be communicating more since she was pregnant. At this point, she was showing to me she didn't look super pregnant, but I noticed a difference. She came back 3 days later and she looked like she had lost weight. She barely talked to me and looked extremely on edge. So finally I got her to talk to me. She just blurts out, "I aborted the baby!" I was at a loss for words. I was just staring at her, so she was trying to play some sick joke on me. And she went on to say she felt the baby was going to be a Sagittarius. And she doesn't feel that her sign, sun sign, isn't compatible or not a good fit for a mother-child bond.
Yes. Yeah. I can't lie. I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed if I was that kid. I'd actually be so mad.
And nigga, I don't give a fuck how old you is. I'll fight this little nigga. You deserve these hands. You deserve these spiritual he's.
Can't lie, I don't know astrology. I don't have the slightest clue when it comes to anything astrology based. I just think it's dumb personally. I have a story. I will not get into detail with this because I don't want to out the person or anything, but there's a person I know or knew because I cut them off. One of their friends who got an abortion just so the trauma inflicted from an abortion would bring her and her friend with benefits closer. I couldn't make this up if I tried. I could not make this up if I tried. I'm being so serious. But enough tap dancing, enough, jigging around the question. Am I pro-choice or am I pro-life? And time to tap dance. In all seriousness, I'm pro-choice, all right? I believe that abortion is necessary. It's something we need as a society. It is what it is. Now, in a perfect world, that might change. My opinion will probably change. But we don't live in a perfect world, so abortion is something that's necessary. Now, I'm not going to go down the road of assault and men trying to force themselves on women. Like, that happens a scarily amount more than we want it to. But I'm excluding that for now. I'm excluding the whole, disabilities and things like that. And, all that type of jazz. I'm getting rid of that just for my opinion here because that's just so much extra nuance that I don't want this video to be 20 minutes, all right? I don't have an audience. With no audience comes no watch time, okay? So there's no point in me making a 20-minute video to people who will not watch the video. So I'm going to just keep this based on what I think is the most problematic situation when it comes to abortion, and that's people's lack of responsibility. Because that's what I think is the biggest reason that abortion is necessary, to me anyway. I think that's the biggest reason because from what I could find, from what I've been listening to debates I've watched and all this stuff, to people who are way more educated than me, this is what people cite as the main reason people get abortions. Alright, so I'm aware that lack of responsibility is very vague, so I thought I'd put in this little disclaimer that I'm separating irresponsibility into 4 different subsections, which I think are pretty self-explanatory. I don't have to go into detail for any of them. The first one being your financial situation. Second one being your relationship status with the person who is going to be the parent or the co-parent of the child. The third thing is your location, i.e. where you live, what country you live in, the state, the city, whatever that type of jazz is. Is it conducive of bringing up a child? And finally, your physical/emotional health. Emotional health being like mental health, you know, your common sense, all that type of jazz. And your physical health being obviously your weight and not anything that you can't control. Things like your weight, your diet, how much you exercise, all that type of jazz. That stuff also plays a part into the well-being of your child. Because why would your child care about itself growing up when you don't care about yourself? Type shit. And to all the pro-life guys and all that jazz, like, I understand the importance of human life. I mean, not my life, because, you know, I got 300 subs begging for niggas to watch me. I don't. But what I've realized when it came to most people who were defending pro-life, they turned out to be religious. And it's completely understandable. And I'm not even saying it's a bad way of thinking. I'm just saying that the main reason we end up going with pro-life is because of like religion or moral sense to the child. If you want to practice no abortion within you or your community, 100% understandable. I get that. But it's just a weird time because this is the only time in human history where we live together, but we live separately, if that makes any sense. We build our communities based on not location anymore. It could be just who you know, how you've met them online. You know, you could be part of an online community before you even know your next door neighbor. Guilty as charged. We can have interactions with no one around us, yet still be part of several communities and have daily interactions with people. It's the weirdest time ever. And I understand this is an issue that can drive the world to be a better place, but it's just not gonna happen. I need y'all to just stop this. Like, let's stop this delusion real quick. Like, in my humble opinion, I'm one person. You could change my mind in the comments. I just feel like it's gonna be incredibly difficult to change people's mindsets when you yank out a stability option that women have had for the last 50 years. I just don't think it's the right way to do things. You can't just take away one of women's choices in life and then that will aid you in order to change their mindset. Most of the time it don't work like that. Every time I watch a convo of like pro-choice versus pro-life and it takes like a religion route, it just kind of reinforces in my mind that if you want to like quote unquote rehabilitate women and men into getting rid of abortion, all that stuff, then banning it will have to be one of the last steps. You can't just ban it and then say, go work it out. It's not gonna happen. I need to work on things like trying to promote sexual exclusive. I can't speak English. I'm sorry. Sexual exclusivity. I hope exclusivity. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, trying to keep your circle small of like sexual partners. Don't be going out, you know, no free love and all that shit that they were doing in the 70s. Make the vetting process for a potential partner a lot more stricter, less boundaries, more boundaries, not less boundaries. You gotta prepare that the person that you're intimate with could be the mother or father of your child. We have to prepare for that stuff. Don't be laying around with bums just because the sex is fire and then you have a kid. It's not worth it in the end, is it? It's not worth it. And I think these things, if we bring this back into society, that will inadvertently lower abortion rates. We won't need abortions as much because people are a lot more responsible and a lot more wise. Sorry I keep switching subjects so often. At this point, I was just freeballing. I didn't know what was going on, but I just kept talking. But yeah, back to like the women's choice thing. Like, it's a choice that is very essential to women. It helps further women's rights and all that type of stuff. And I don't want to, you know, regress the progress we've made in giving women decisions by taking away something as important as abortion. Because if we're being honest, something like that has really helped not only with progressing women's rights, but it just helps like to have something like that. But to kind of put a bow in it, it's easy for men. Like we can get 20 women pregnant at the same time. Like, women have to go through the 9-month progress, it's hormonal shit. It's hard. I've never been through it and I'm lucky as hell. I'm happy I don't have to go through 9 months. Abortion right now, given the society we live in, is just a positive, really. It's just like a safety mechanic. It's like a last ditch option. It was at this moment that my mic just started fucking up. Like, I really need a new mic. Yeah, I had a whole outro and all that shit, and the only thing that actually got recorded was me saying goodbye. So you're just gonna have to live with that. Make sure you like and subscribe. And yeah, take care, man. Peace.
I'm not a savior nor a saint. Told 30s and sticks with an open case. I try to behave when I know I can't. So purpose of this is to motivate. What's the ticket? Shit we can negotiate. Take a toke of the law while I pull the drink.